Right now on Local News 8 on Fox, the bad odor in Idaho Falls is getting some more attention as city prosecutors bring a charge against the company responsible. Plus, some commotion at the state capitol today as people gather to protest moves made by the Trump administration. And Governor Brad Little shares his goal to make Idaho a no-kill state by the end of the year. These stories and more right now on Local News 8 on Fox 5.
Live from your news leader, Local News 8 on Fox starts now.
Good evening, I'm Todd Kuntz. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. We begin with new information about the strong odor on the northern end of Idaho Falls. Intermountain Packing is receiving a public nuisance charge for causing the smell. City prosecutors are bringing that charge after numerous complaints from people and city workers. Evidence for the case is based on an investigation by Idaho Falls Police, which began in December. David Adams, Intermountain Packing CEO, will be in court Friday for his arraignment. If found guilty, Adams could face 6 months in jail plus a $1,000 fine. We have been following this story throughout the early process. To see our past coverage, visit our website at localnews8.com. Also tonight, Lori Vallow-Daybell is asking an Arizona judge to prevent cameras, specifically from Court TV, from being allowed in the courtroom at her upcoming trial. In a brief submitted to the Maricopa County Court, Vallow-Daybell alleges that Court TV airs a commercial that she says has falsely characterized, libeled, and slandered her and her husband, Chad Daybell. According to documents obtained by Fox 10 in Phoenix, Vallow-Daybell says, quote, Court TV should be ashamed of its very nature and its request, since its sole objective is not to bring people real news or facts, but instead its objective is to entertain the public with the very true life tragedies that happen in real people's lives, end quote. And Vallow-Daybell is acting as her own attorney. She is charged with conspiracy to commit murder in the death of her former husband and the attempted murder of her ex-nephew-in-law. Her trial is scheduled to begin March 31st. Pocatello parents are starting a petition to recall a Pocatello-Chubbuck School Board member after he voted to close Washington Elementary School, which is in his own zone. The parents started the petition process earlier this week. They want to recall trustee Raymond Knopf, who presides over Zone 4 of the school district. The zone includes Washington Elementary and its attendance areas. Kimberly Burnt is spearheading the petition campaign. She hopes the recall will motivate the school board to consider options other than closing the school.
I feel like closing Washington Elementary is a Band-Aid, but doesn't actually fix the problem. And so we decided that recalling trustee Knopf would be an opportunity to hold the school board accountable.
Burnt hopes to get about 1,500 signatures to finalize the recall process. Local News 8 reached out to the Pocatello-Chubbuck School District for comment. They did not respond. We do have an update tonight on the cyber attack on Jefferson School District, District 251. The district's IT department is working around the clock trying to get the district back online. All schools within the district were in session today, but they will be closed tomorrow and Friday. All parent-teacher conferences that were scheduled today and the rest of the week have been canceled due to the attack on the district's network. The administration says the 2 days off will give planning and preparation time for teachers to adapt their lessons without technology. The closure Friday was already on the district calendar. The daddy-daughter dance, by the way, tomorrow is still on. The first mass protest against the new President Trump administration and policies happened today. Thousands of demonstrators joined the 50 states, 50 protest marches nationwide in a show of organized resistance. They are calling out President Trump's policies on human rights, immigration, and his choice of advisors, such as Elon Musk. Sherelle Hubbard reports on a few of those protests.
Protesters across the nation took to the streets and to the steps of their state capitals Wednesday. They showed up to oppose the policies of President Donald Trump. Since taking office 2 weeks ago, he's signed a litany of controversial executive orders, scaling up mass deportations of undocumented migrants, attempting to end birthright citizenship, and banning diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in the federal government.
Because they want you to hate me and they want me to hate you. Yeah! I hate my heart. The only thing I hate is fascism.
We were protesting Project 2025 as well as the policies that come from that.
This week, Tesla and ex-billionaire Elon Musk gained access to federal payment systems in the U.S. Treasury. The White House says Musk is, quote, a special government employee.
Elon can't do and won't do anything without our approval.
Protesters showed up with signs like Deport Elon and Stop the Oligarchy to express their discontent. The marches were organized by the 50501 movement. The group says its key concerns are the eroding of civil liberties, dividing of communities, and oppressive policies.
All of our elected officials in Iowa, I implore you to respect the oath you took to defend our Constitution and go take some action against this administration.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And Idaho is included. A large group you see here gathered in front of the Idaho Capitol building today in Boise. Many people were holding signs in protest to these same topics. They chanted together and called on government leaders to defend the U.S. Constitution. The protest ended with everyone singing "America the Beautiful." Organizers say they are planning more events like this in the future. Although many people protested outside of Capitol buildings nationwide, they were also reported outside Trump Tower in Chicago. In Nevada, a rally was organized on the Las Vegas Strip and was expected to go from the Bellagio to Trump Tower.
Winds are slowly relaxing tonight on the backside of today's cold front that rolled through. We had warmer temperatures this morning, and then it's been awfully cold and windy all throughout the afternoon and evening here with dry, clear conditions. We're picking up on some snow, however, as we get into Friday and Saturday. We got another storm on the move. For tonight and heading into tomorrow, things are looking pretty quiet here getting into your Thursday. We still got winds well into the teens and 20s across the Snake River Plain, but you notice Burley's calm. Pocatello's only seen 7-mile-an-hour winds. We got 15-mile-per-hour winds last check at the Idaho Falls Airport and 18-mile-per-hour winds in Jackson. Generally, the winds will slowly taper down as we get through the overnight hours. And heading into your Thursday, I'm not looking at a lot of wind, but it's going to be colder. We got 24 in Rexburg at this moment, 25 in Idaho Falls, 26 in Blackfoot, and 25 in Pocatello with the teens out towards Jackson. Nothing locally showing up here on first alert radar. Pretty dry conditions. You do have some snow to the northwest of our region, and we'll pick up on more of the snow coming in from the west as we slide into your Friday. Lows tonight down to the teens and 20s across the Snake River Plain, and we even got some single-digit lows around Jackson. At this point, everybody's still looking to be above zero overnight, but as we step through that 8-day forecast, you'll notice some sub-zero numbers next week as we lose the moisture. I'm tracking snow, rain, and wind, along with a big drop in the temperatures coming through later in this newscast. For now, back over to Todd.
All right, Michael, thanks. We'll come back. By now, you probably noticed the soaring cost of eggs, if you can even find them on the grocery store shelves. These are like gold. It's a problem that seems to be getting worse. The nationwide egg shortage has led to higher prices and a lot of anxiety for shoppers. CNN's Brian Todd has more behind it.
A brazen heist reflects the desperation over eggs in the U.S. Authorities in southern Pennsylvania investigating the theft of about 100,000 eggs from the back of a truck at this distribution center. The take worth an estimated $40,000. It comes as eggs are in much shorter supply and prices are spiking. At Waffle Houses across the country, the menus now say there will be a temporary 50-cent surcharge for every egg you order. A tough hit since eggs are Waffle House's most ordered item. At grocery stores across the country, shoppers are frustrated.
It's outrageous. I just don't understand why egg prices got to be so high.
Is it going to change the way you kind of cook and shop?
It is, because I don't get that many eggs now.
The price of eggs spiked 2 years ago and is now spiking again, jumping 50 cents per dozen just between November and December. And in some places, eggs aren't available at all.
I went in and by God, they had everything but eggs.
The main culprit, a devastating outbreak of avian flu across much of the U.S., egg-laying hens having to be culled by the millions.
Just in the last year alone, we've had to euthanize more than 40 million birds, and we started this year by euthanizing an additional 15 million birds because of this deadly virus. It's absolutely devastating.
Also, strong consumer demand has fueled the shortage and the price spikes. The demand for eggs typically higher during the holiday season. And like many other crises these days, politics has crept in. President Trump mentioned eggs a few times on the campaign trail last year.
Eggs, all of this stuff, it's gone up at levels that nobody has ever seen before.
Trump promised to bring food prices down on day one. Now that the egg crisis has persisted, Trump's team has blamed former President Biden.
In 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country.
But the reality, analysts say, is that the egg crisis is something no president can really control.
It's not President Biden's fault. It's not President Trump's fault. You know, it's what's going on in the industry and a virus.
And according to the Department of Agriculture, we'll have to endure spiking egg prices for a while longer. They're expected to increase another 20% this year.
I wish I could give people a little light at the end of the tunnel, but we need a sustained period where we have no new outbreaks to allow our industry to recover.
Some grocers have put limits on how many eggs a shopper can buy in order to stretch the thinning supply. Now, one of the alternatives that people have come up with is raising their own chickens. But as the cold weather begins to come back, they need to find ways to keep those chickens and other animals warm. The captain of the Shelley Firth Fire District says that every winter they see a spike in structure fires caused by equipment meant to keep chickens comfortable.
In our district, we'll probably respond to 5 to 10 fires that are started related to heat lamps or indoor use. Heating pads is another big one that people seem to use. They put under their cat beds and they'll short out.
Captain Moeller says heating lamps are the most popular choice for keeping chickens warm, but they are also the cause of many of the structure fires they respond to. He says the lamps are safe when they are used properly.
Your heat lamps, you want them away from any flammable source, whether that's bedding, straw, blankets, pillows, other wood.
Captain Moeller also says heat lamps should not be used in sealed coops or boxes and should be 5 to 6 feet away from any flammable material. If you are using alternatives to heat lamps, like he mentioned the heating pads, make sure they are rated for outdoor use. Governor Brad Little has declared today as Idaho Loves Shelter Animals Day. His goal is for Idaho to become a no-kill state by the end of the year. Directors at the Snake River Animal Shelter in Idaho Falls say they are ecstatic about this news.
I don't believe there's any shelter in Idaho that wants to euthanize. They are doing it only because they get overwhelmed and they have nowhere else for stray and abandoned animals to go.
Animal shelters need to reach a 90% save rate for animals that reside there to meet the governor's goal. Data from Best Friends Animal Society shows Idaho only has 3 animal shelters left to become completely no-kill as a state. Shelter Director Michelle Zeal-Dingman says they are working with local representatives to encourage more Idahoans to adopt.
There are all kinds of nonprofits in the state of Idaho where if you purchase or support them, there's not a sales tax attached to it, and animal shelters and rescues for companion pets are not one of them. So we are really urging our legislators to pay attention to this issue and include animal shelters and rescues in that list of exempted nonprofits.
The most common causes of shelter overcrowding are unethical breeding and abandoned pets. To see some adorable animals that need a good home, visit our website. Look for this story at localnews8.com. The American Burn Association has dedicated this week as National Burn Awareness Week. Doctors at Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center in Idaho Falls are drawing attention to the growing issue of pediatric burns in the area. ERMAC says it is the only burn center in Idaho, treating hundreds of burn patients every year. They say in 2024, 14 children were hospitalized at ERMAC with third-degree burns.
Their skin is thinner, is more friable, and therefore it takes less temperature or time in contact with the skin to develop a severe burn. Dead tissue doesn't heal, so dead tissue has to be removed. That's typically done in surgery, so it's less painful and less morbidity for that patient, particularly pediatric population. And then from that aspect, their likelihood of needing to have a skin graft is high, particularly with the third degree.
Dr. Olavison says even soup from a microwave is hot enough to develop third-degree burns on a young child's skin. He says parents need to be aware of how fast a scalding burn can develop. For more information on burn prevention, visit this story on our website at localnews8.com. People in North Carolina are still trying to rebuild after Hurricane Helene tore through the region several weeks ago. Many are depending on federal aid. More on their recovery coming up in tonight's Eye on America.